Hello, everyone. We'll get started in just a few moments. I'm just going to give a few seconds and it's right on the dot. Let a few more folks join. All right. It looks like we got a good number of people in the meeting. Uh, yeah, actually. Uh, Perfect question, Daryl. Yes, there will be a recording that will be sent out afterwards. This whole thing's going to be recorded. And I also invite anyone at any time, feel free to throw questions into the chat. We want to make sure that this is collaborative and um, yeah, you guys are able to ask anything that you'd like to. In addition to that, anyone who would like to talk about OnPage or your experiences with OnPage at the end, whenever we get to the Q&A, I'd like to invite anyone who would like to. We can make you a presenter and you can speak in front of the group if you want. Open invitation for anyone um, who's used OnPage or is looking to use OnPage just to kind of talk about anything that you've seen so far. Um, but we'll go ahead and get started. So welcome to OnPage's Product Roundtable, what's new with OnPage. My name is Corey Fogg. I am the new API product leader here at OnPage. I come from an MSP background, working with MSPs for 11 years now through ConnectWise, Axie, and a bunch of different things. I've always been involved on the kind of vendor side, especially with APIs and stuff of that nature. Joining me today, I have Zoe Collins, who's our marketing coordinator. She's going to be looking at the chat and looking for any questions that come in and making sure that those all make it over to me. So feel free throughout the whole presentation, ask your questions in the chat, and she'll pick those up and direct them to me whenever we get to the appropriate spots. We have a couple things that we're going to cover today. An overview of OnPage and BlastIt. A lot of you know that we have OnPage, but we also have another product called BlastIt. So we'll talk a little bit about the differences between them. We're also going to talk about the recent enhancements that the OnPage team has come out with, and also what is next at OnPage now that I've joined the company. So to give a quick kind of overview, OnPage is our critical alerting, on-call routing, incident response platform. This is for all of your critical things that you need to make sure that people are alerted of right away. And a BlastIt is our mass notification kind of broad communication. Each of these tools supports SMS, voice, and email, whereas OnPage also has an app that supports push notifications. That way we can bypass the do not disturb and the silent switch on phones. That way you always get the alerts that you're looking for. OnPage has your scheduler, automation around escalations, incident response, and then BlastIt. It's more for your kind of like crisis communication, organizational messages. Let's say an office is closed and you want to let people know. There's a lot of really cool things that you can do with BlastIt that we want people to be able to explore. Let's say you have a network that you need to take down for maintenance. You're able to send out a communication that says like, hey, make sure to save your work. We're going to be taking things down. Or let's say the network is coming back online. You can send out mass messages with responses to say like, hey, is everyone okay? Are you able to get connected again? And depending on how they respond to it, you know who you need to go help. So it kind of takes a lot of the guesswork out of communicating with people. And it also keeps a lot of the messaging out of your marketing platform and into something that has full audit trails with time tracking and everything like that, so that you're able to better keep your records around it. One of the newest things here at OnPage is we have redone all of our documentation. So on your page, you should be able to click on that link for docs.onpage.com. This is our new technical documentation site. This is going to give you everything for OnPage, BlastIt, and our new public API. These pieces of documentation cover everything from field definitions to all the different menu items, and all the different menu items. I did just see that there is a chat that people cannot see the presentation. Can I get a confirmation from anyone else that you're able to? Okay. If you are having trouble seeing the presentation, try to rejoin. Maybe that will work for you. Otherwise, we will have the recording out at the end. Apologies for that not working. So to continue, this is our new documentation site. It will have everything you need for someone to get started with OnPage for the first time. Let's say you're onboarding someone new, and we have terminology such as an OnPage ID. Like, what is that? We have all the definitions around that inside of this documentation page. This is a new initiative that I created. We're going to be expanding it with more and more articles, as well as some video content for kind of a learner series that I'll talk about a little bit later on. So we have a couple of new features within OnPage. So we have templates, and templates aren't actually new, but we now have them in the mobile app as well. And that's kind of the same for a lot of these other features, such as notes. Notes aren't necessarily a new feature, but we've added them into the mobile app. So I'm going to be doing a demo here in a little bit where we're going to talk about the templates in mobile, the notes in mobile, the ability to log into multiple accounts in mobile, and then also we'll be going over our new Slack integration and covering kind of the baseline for the Teams integration. In addition to these capabilities, we also have SSO added to Blastit, so you're able to use your Microsoft SSO account in order to log into Blastit as well. So let's dive into templates. Templates are important because it reduces the time to send pages. It also allows consistency by being able to kind of put fields in there that people will replace in order to have the same format. That way, every time you get a page, it's going to be consistent. So here's an example of a lab results notification where you just fill out the patient name, ID, in different details about the test results, whether or not you're attaching a file. And the big thing about this is now we've brought this to mobile. So instead of having someone go log into the console, they can actually just pull up the mobile app in order to do that. So we'll show a quick sample of that. So here I have my emulator. This is showing a OnPage account. And then behind it, I have the OnPage console. When I go to click into create a new account, I would specify who I would like this to go to. And then I would skip filling in a subject or body since the template is going to overwrite that. And it'll also give you a warning, such as this here, where it says, if you've already entered anything, it's going to be overwritten. It then fills out the message with whatever you have in your template. So in this case, for my template, I have a network down template where I would just replace the client name and location. And then in order to actually create these templates, you would go into OnPage console, go into settings, click on templates, and then you can either click into edit any of your existing ones, or you can click create to create a new template. And this is the new feature that I'm talking about here. It's this checkbox sync to mobile devices. Now, templates can be used for more than just like going into the mobile app and clicking on a template and filling out fields. With our new API, templates are also going to be exposed, so you're able to use those whenever you're going to programmatically grab a template, replace the values, and then send that in via the API request. So it's important to have a number of templates in your system for the different things that you want, because you can use it not just in the app, not just in the web console, but in the new API, it's going to be accessible as well. And if anyone has any questions about templates, feel free to add those into the chat. I'm gonna go ahead and go back to the presentation, go to the next item for y'all. The next new feature is being able to add notes from the mobile app as well. So instead of having to go back into the OnPage console, click into reports, which unless you're an administrator, you don't even have access to that either. The notes can now be added from the mobile app itself. which it looks like we did have a question on templates, so I'm going to jump to that real quick. Do you have specific subscription level to have templates? No, as long as you have access to the console to create those templates. So it's going to be either the silver or gold, and that's kind of true for all of these capabilities. As long as you have the ability to log into the console to create those templates and you have them, none of these capabilities are additional costs. They're all included in the existing silver and gold. So for notes, as I mentioned, you're able to now do that from the mobile view. So we'll show that real quick. So we'll go back to the list of the pages and stuff that we have. And let's say I want to add notes to this page here. So I'll just simply open it up. In the top right-hand corner, there's now this note icon. I already have a note on this page, so I'm going to go ahead and edit it. So you can edit your notes at any time. I'm going to go in here. Now I am adding a note via the product call. I'll hit save on that. Now, this note is not going to send out to all the people who had a page. If you had instead added a message to it, then this is going to page everyone. This is a note that is tied to your user that only you and the administrator within OnPage can see. So as an administrator, if I want to go see the notes that people have left, I would click into reports, and then I would click into messages, and then I would go find whatever messages that I'm looking for in order to see the notes. It's going to be one of these ones here. Yeah, here we go. Been doing a lot of tests, so I have a lot more messages in the system than normal. But here I can see that there's actually two different notes on this from two different users. As an administrator of OnPage, I can see all of the notes from all the different users. However, whenever I went to just go add that note, I could only see my note. So individual users can't see each other's notes. So that means that if I want to put anything that is, private or something that I'm not looking for other people to be able to see, perfect, you're able to do that. And what's cool is later on, we're going to talk a little bit about a new feature that's coming out called AI reports, and it's going to use this for that. Also, as an administrator, I can add my own notes on here as well, which each of the people who are logged into OnPage are unable to see unless they're an administrator. Feel free to ask any questions about notes if you'd like. I do see that there's a question about APIs. I will get to that in the API section. Yeah, absolutely, David. We can definitely send you the recording after. For this last capability, I'm not going to demo the screen. There's a little video here that is playing, but I'll go ahead and describe. So you may be working for more than one hospital, or you might be working for more than one organization as an on-call. We wanted to allow you to log into OnPage multiple times. In this case, we added the ability where you can log in up to 3 times, and each account that you're logged into will be able to receive pages. So this allows you to keep data in whichever account is generating those requests, because OnPage, as a lot of you may know, is cross-organizational, where you can message any OnPage ID from any account. But if you want to keep that account or all that data inside the same account, then you would go up to the top corner, you'd click on your name, you'd click onto add account, enter in your credentials, and once you're logged in, you're able to toggle between those different accounts by clicking again back up to the top left-hand corner with your name and switching between them. This will allow you to seamlessly switch between those accounts without having to log out. A lot of people who work for multiple organizations as on-call would have this issue where once you log out of an account, if you get a page, well, you're never going to know that you got that page if you're not logged in. So being able to log into up to 3 accounts at a time solves that issue. We also have a couple new integrations that have come out. We have both a Slack and Teams integration. I'm going to demo the Slack integration for you. The Teams integration works pretty similarly to it. Let's go ahead and share. So here I have a Slack channel, and there is a couple of different commands that we have. There's /op help, which will give you the help thing that you can see on this page here. And then there's op trigger. So I'm going to go ahead and type in /, and then I'm going to use op trigger. We don't have a whole lot of stuff in our Slack, so it shows up at the front for us, but you might have to type out more of it in order to see it in your Slack instance. Once I hit enter, it's going to create a pop-up where I can then select the recipients that I want to see. Let's say you have a Slack channel where you're doing escalations, and it's getting to the point of where in your escalation you need to notify someone who's not in the Slack channel or isn't responding. You can send them a page directly from Slack. So I'm going to send this escalation out. I can choose subject, body, reply options, and then when I hit send, it's going to create a thread and notify that account. So for me, it has notified my Slack emulation. I'm going to go back, and I actually had it send to my other account, and you'll see here there's the escalation. I will click on this, and you'll notice that there's now some replies within Slack. Here I can see when the message was delivered, and now that I've read the message, we'll give it a few seconds, and it's going to notify or mention that I've now read the message. I can also come in here and ask any questions, and those will be sent back to Slack, or I can just say I'm working on it now. And we'll give it a few seconds. There we go. Now it shows the I'm working on it now message. So that way, whenever you're inside of Slack and you're doing your escalation process, you can now make sure that people are actually working on their requests. You can see who's reading them. That way, let's say you send it to a group. As it goes down the line, each person is going to have it delivered to them, but then you can see who's actually opening it. And then you know who you need to like hop on the phone with if you need to do anything additional, or you can just start working on messaging with that person in order to get the escalation resolved. All right. Now, the Microsoft Teams integration is very similar to this integration. It uses the same sort of in-product messaging. I have a screenshot of what it looks like, but it is a little bit more complicated to get set up, so we don't have a demo of it right at this moment. However, anyone who would like a demo of the Microsoft Teams integration, definitely let us know, and we'll set you up with a one-on-one call with Abdu, our head of customer service, who can walk you through setting up that Teams integration and demoing it for you. So instead of doing the pop-up, it does it as a kind of like in-window message, where whenever you click on it, it will allow you to send the same message and have that integration sync. Now, it looks like we have some questions around some of the integration stuff, so let me go ahead and take a look at those. We do not have a Salesforce integration yet. That is something that we are looking at. And then Dean, it looks like you're having a issue potentially with the Teams integration. We can definitely set you up with Abdu, and he can walk you through that. Oh, looks like Zoe had already responded to you. And then yes, in order to send to a group, basically just for the recipients, you would select whatever group name it is that you have, and then it will send out to it. The Teams integration is brand new. so it might not appear everywhere. There could be something that you need to do in order to get it to show up. So yeah, we will have a support contact you and work with you to get that set up on your instance. No problem. So what's next with OnPage? We have a bunch of different things that are coming out as well. We have the new public APIs that I kind of hinted at, and yes, we're going to be doing some stuff around SDKs and things like that for it. The new APIs are going to use a bearer authentication, which some of you might have set up API integrations already, in which case you had to contact support to get your API keys or do some weird stuff like that. That's not going to be a thing with this new public API. You're going to have a screen inside of your application where you're able to set up different API keys and have full control over being able to revoke them or generate new ones, whatever you'd like. That way, you don't have these perpetual API keys that are living forever. We're also going to be adding AI-generated reports. So based off of the notes and things that are added into the notes section of the reports, you'll be able to get some new queries created. All of that's going to be HIPAA compliant as well. So we're ensuring that everything is protected. We also have a new feature, gentle alerts. This one I'm really excited about. We've had quite a few people request this. So let's say you're doing on call and it's 4 o'clock in the morning. You don't necessarily want the very first page that you get to be extremely loud. You want to be able to sleep next to someone and not wake them up, but be able to be woken up yourself. So we have this threshold where you can set for the first couple of escalations. So let's say you have it set to page you every 1 minute. For the first like 3 or 4, you can have it set to be a lower alert. And then for the next one, it's going to be that high alert that's going to wake you up if you're not responding to it. So if you respond to the alert right away, you're able to keep that quieter alert. We're also working on sandboxes for people who are doing development. So whether you're a vendor or a power user and you want to have a protected environment where you're not at risk of spamming on-page IDs or causing people to look at their phone 4 o'clock in the morning when you're doing your development work, then these sandboxes will be for you in order to do all of your sort of testing and stuff. We also have a number of integrations that we are looking at, not only from ourselves, but also from third parties. And we'd love to get any feedback on what integrations you'd like to see. For our public APIs, they're all going to be in an open API format where we're following as many widely accepted practices for them. So when it comes to pagination, it's token pagination. It's all things that you're able to take our YAML files and you would be able to import them into no-code solutions, and it should be able to understand our APIs right away. I've been working with APIs for a very long time, and I'm very excited about these ones that are coming out. I'm really proud of the team and the work that they've been doing on them. And as you know, we have APIs for OnPage today, but they're kind of like all over the place. We have like 3 different pieces of documentation, and they're a little bit hard to understand. Not only are we releasing public APIs for OnPage, but also for our Blasted product as well, and those should be coming out basically at the same time. All of these APIs are going to allow you to emulate anything that you do in the UI through the API. So one of the cool examples would be onboarding new people. You're able to create those accounts directly inside OnPage and Blasted. Or if you want to be able to send and reply to pages, it's using a more kind of RESTful flow for doing that. So it's a little bit easier to understand. You can see a preview of the documentation on docs.onpage.com. That's not the final version of it. If you have any feedback or anything, feel free to provide that. And you should start seeing the more official documentation within the next week or so. As I mentioned, we're also looking at different integrations. So 2 that we're looking at to kind of broadly expand our base is Zapier and N8N. These are both hub and spoke integrations. Zapier boasts over 5,000 integrations, depending on which marketing page you look at. N8N, much smaller. It's more like 800 or so, but N8N is a self-hosted solution. So depending on the data protection that you need, you can use Zapier to connect OnPage to literally anything, or you can use N8N for a bit smaller reset, but then have control of your own data in your own self-hosted environment. We're also working with a company, K4 Connect, who is more on the medical side, they have EHR integrations and work with assisted living. Then we also are creating integrations to a couple of PSA CRM systems. So Alga PSA, which is a relatively new one, Halo PSA, and then Zendesk. We're also looking at things like Salesforce, and in a moment, we're going to be giving you guys a survey link. And we'd love for you to tell us what integrations you want to see. That way, we're able to prioritize them correctly. We're also going to be working on doing some things around some future calls. So this was our first product roundtable since I've joined OnPage. We plan to have these potentially quarterly as we come out with big updates for OnPage and Blast It. We also would like to do some things around what we're calling a learner series, where we're going to deep dive into a specific feature. Each of these would then be added to the documentation site. Microsoft Teams is probably going to be the first one that we do for that, since there's a huge buzz around getting that Microsoft Teams integration out. And we think a lot of people would have some value from that. And then we're also working on a Partner Alliance Council. Some of you may have heard of this before, but what this is we're looking to get a list of customers that are from different walks of life, different company sizes, different industries. Anyone who would like to provide feedback on OnPage in a kind of consistent manner, we'll do some sort of scheduled call where we meet, talk about the roadmap for OnPage, and see kind of how that fits your business and how it fits your industry and the changes and things that you're seeing. So if anyone would like to join that Partner Alliance Council, in the survey link that I'm about to show on the page, you'll be able to click on that and sign up for that group. Here we get to the kind of question and answer section. I see that there's a few real quick. Corey saying that you'd like to be able to access the user list via APIs for compliance testing. Absolutely, we will be able to give you guys those users lists. So whether that's for OnPage or Blast It, you'll be able to export those via the API. Yeah, we can jump into Blast It in just a moment. And then I read your message there, Steve. Okay, we will take that as a request back and take a look at that and then reach out to you on it. And then you guys might see that link on the page. Go ahead and click on that. That's going to be that survey link that I was talking about, so you can sign up for the Partner Alliance Council, as well as there's a free text field at the bottom of it where you can add whatever feedback you would like. So Ben, I'm actually going to be working with a consulting company that uses Halo PSA and writes integrations to them. They're in the MSP geek space, Quentin. So I'll be meeting with him. No, it's Quentin Comer. If you know him. So I'll be meeting with him. Hopefully by the end of this week, he's going to be giving us some access to Halo, and we'll be looking at that integration. So I've worked with him a while back whenever I was at ConnectWise doing the APIs over there. So that should be fun to be able to work with him on that again. And then also for those who don't know, at least on the MSP side, I will be at MSP Geek Con. So if you guys are attending that, definitely come on over to our booth. And then we're also going to be at the HIMSS conference coming up here shortly too. And then it looks like wanted to talk a little bit more about Blast It. So Blast It is our mass messaging platform. Actually, I can give you guys a quick overview of it. I'll pull it up for you guys. So here is Blast It. It is a very simple system to use. Within 3 clicks, you can get messages out to people. Basically, you have your members. These are all the people that you would want to notify. So you can import lists. It's a different application, but you can access it from OnPage if you have it as part of your package. So you can reach out to our sales team in order to get access to it. But yeah, so you're able to import your list of users into it either via CSV or very shortly, you're going to be able to do that via the APIs. once you have your users inside of Blastit, you can either tag them into different groups, which are called departments in Blastit, and then you're able to go up here to compose messages. You can choose which groups you want to send messages out to. So in this list, I have mine here. You choose your subjects, you choose your delivery methods, and then it will send out. So once you send messages, you can then have acknowledgement. So we're going to look at this message that I've sent. Actually, we're going to go to one of these other ones that has some details. Okay, so this one here, I sent this out via email, and I have this acknowledgement here, which means that I acknowledged the request whenever I got it. If I did like a reply message or anything like that, it would show the replies here. It'll tell you exactly whenever they've seen that. It also gives you some good stats that you can see the percentage of people. So let's say this was a test to say like, hey, I'm going to be taking the network down. You can make sure that people have acknowledged that request in order to like know like, okay, 50% of people have seen this. It's probably safe that I can go ahead and proceed with the work. Or let's say you're doing migrations and you want to let people know that you finished with your migrations, you can do that as well. Or if your office is closed for the day, you can even like send out a message to all the people who had something scheduled for that day. There's not skim provisioning for Blastit. A lot of the Blastit stuff isn't necessarily going to be the people that are inside your company. It's going to be potentially your customers. I could see if you're managing like the Active Directory for a client, then you would want that capability. We are looking at integrations and stuff for it now that we now have that public API coming out for it. So yeah, definitely some capabilities of that in the future. And then at the beginning of all this, I asked if there were anyone who would like to talk about OnPage or share your experiences or anything. If anyone would like to do that, feel free to say something in the chat, and I'm happy to let you do that. Otherwise, the floor is open for anyone who has some additional questions. Yeah. So Zoe mentions there in the chat, one of the things in the survey is that you can ask to see what you want to see next. And we're happy to do a webinar dedicated purely to Blastit for those who want to see more. And we can run through actually going through the whole process in order to show that. There's not an ideas portal yet. That is something that I'm working on. A lot of you who have submitted support requests might notice that you're getting a lot more ticket notifications now. We're revamping our support process and how we handle all of our support requests. We do have some feature types in there for feature requests. It's not like submitting anything like going to features.onpage.com or anything like that. But if you submit a support request and you ask for some sort of enhancement or capability or whatever you would like, we can tag it as that and put it into our request backlog. We're going to be creating some official processes on how we go about kind of reviewing those and grading them. I would like to get a portal at some point where you can vote on the different features, but we're just not quite there yet with the new processes. And then I am looking at how to change the time for the page to roll from one person to the next in the group. I believe that's in the group setting itself, where you can change your escalation interval. So I can share that setting, and then someone in the chat can correct me if I am wrong on this, but whenever you are inside of a group, there is the escalation interval for whenever it goes to the next person. I believe you can double click on a group and edit that. So if you want to change that, you would do that from just editing the groups. Yeah, not a problem. Yeah, a lot of the things in the UI you can double click on in order to open them up to be able to edit. So if you haven't done that yet, then that will help you out. All right. Well, doesn't look like we have any other questions. So yeah, definitely click on that survey link if you haven't yet. Go ahead and fill that out. We'd love to know what to do next for reaching out with the community. Um, One of my top priorities here is getting involved in the community. So if you guys want to chat about your experiences with OnPage, I'm going to send out a follow up to this where we'll include my scheduling link. You're welcome to schedule calls with me. I'd love to hear any of your ideas, feedback, what you guys want to see next. I've been involved with MSP Geek community for a number of years, and I know we have a lot of healthcare folks on here as well, and I want to get involved with you guys as well. So anything that you guys would like to see, definitely talk to me on it, and we can make it happen. So I appreciate you all for joining, and yeah, I'll see you guys on the next session.